What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Bros Talking Soccer Podcast World Cup edition. Today is Saturday, July 7th. It is day 24 of the World Cup, and we are recapping the second quarterfinal round matches. My brothers are off doing things. Christian is at the Union game, and Matt is with friends. So I am joined by Denver Yost from the MLS Guys. Denver, how you doing today?
What's up, Dave? How you doing? Just trying to collect my thoughts after this crazy day of soccer. World Cup blessed us again, so ready to go.
All right, yeah, another great day. Can you tell everybody real quick about the MLS Guys?
Yeah, so I'm from at the MLS Guys, started by me and a buddy. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Basically bringing you guys articles based on stats. Try and just give a more deeper thought to MLS, and we try and keep it mostly player and team involved. So check us out.
Absolutely. We have the Twitter and website linked in our video description and podcast show notes, so definitely go check them out. And I'm assuming they can find you on all the other social media platforms from one of those two places. So let's talk about today's matches. First up, England versus Sweden. That finished 2-0 to England this morning. Denver, your thoughts on the match?
So generally overall, when you think about England coming out 2-0 on top, I think about England as a team that isn't really put in the tier with France, Belgium, Brazil, but I think it's about time that I'm done doubting them. I'm putting them as, most likely making the World Cup, if I had to say, and I think they can give either France or Belgium a game for the World Cup. And I think this team, when you look at the lineup, it's got world class everywhere from the Premier League, and they've been impressive. Showed it again today. So I thought well done by England, and props to Sweden for getting as far as they did. They could have used Ibra today. That was kind of unfortunate, but props to them. And I think all around a solid game.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I mean, England just looked in control throughout the game. And I don't know if it was Sweden just running out of steam on the run that they're on, or if England just, looked that good. I mean, Sweden had a couple chances, but for the most part, I thought, England was in control for the majority of that match. Sweden approached the game predictably. They were clogging up the middle, driving England out wide. And I thought England did a good job of not just swinging in crosses right away and first time. I thought that they, at least were patient. Yes, they were still knocking in crosses, which is what Sweden wanted them to do, but it wasn't always coming at the first opportunity. They were probing a little bit more and trying to find that opportunity, and their second goal kind of came from that. Anything else to add before we get into the specifics of the match?
Yeah, definitely. Just in the midfield, I thought Lingard, Henderson, Ali worked really well. I know Ali was a little absent there in the first half, but once they got in their groove and they found their classic English form, I think that meshed well, and we saw them at what they're meant to be with aerial balls, midfielders finishing. You got right back. I think Trippier was really, no, I'm sorry, Walker and Trippier were very involved as far as that outside crossing. So I thought all in all, well done by England.
Agree with that. Now, 31st minute, that's where the first noteworthy thing from the match comes from, and that's Maguire's goal. England takes the lead off of a corner kick, and Maguire, he's an absolute beast in the air and just beats his man. For whatever reason, Emil Forsberg, who isn't exactly the most aerial-powered defender, was on Maguire in this instance. I don't know if it was a zonal marking situation or a mismatch on men, but Maguire just beats him and gets it in. England takes the lead 1-0. Denver, what'd you make of the goal?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it's really well done form by Maguire. I thought it's always cool to see a player end up on the score sheet who you wouldn't think so. I mean, you give one look at Maguire and you're wondering where he's from, Leicester City kid. But it's just it was great form. And on the matching thing, it seems that players get mixed up in the matching. Like, you always got to wonder why Forsberg, typically attacking more finesse, is on a guy like Maguire, who's a power center back. So you got to question that. But I think well done to Maguire and capping that off in a big situation.
Agree with that. Yeah, it might have been. I mean, England has been known. I mean, there's all kinds of articles written about this, how England has developed set pieces based off of NBA models where there's picks and screens and a lot of movement. And, it may have been designed to get Forsberg onto Maguire. So props to them in that instance. Later on in the first half, Sterling had a couple just glaring misses, and you kind of feel for him at this point. It's been over 23 games without scoring, but he gets himself into such fantastic positions. He's got to be so frustrating. And I almost feel bad for the guy. But in the 44th minute, I noted he couldn't finish. He took his time, and ultimately it would have been offside. But then a minute later, Henderson plays a great first-time ball over the top. Sterling is onside, and he just dawdles a little bit. He tries to go around the keeper. Olsen gets a touch on it, and he doesn't lay it off to Kane there. And you kind of thought, is England going to let Sweden back into this match? Denver, your thoughts on Sterling's performance?
I thought in the instance you're talking about, I thought fantastic trap by Sterling, but even better job by Olsen. He doesn't make a save, but he makes Sterling have to actually swerve far right so the defender can catch up to him. And I think it sucks for the attacker, but when you go 10 games without scoring, and then it's 15 games without scoring, and then it's 20 games without scoring, it becomes real mental at that point. So now at that point, Sterling's like, this is my best chance, World Cup, put us up 2-0. I need to be shooting this ball. I'm taking on a Swedish defender. Again, the right thing to do is lay it off to Harry Kane, like you mentioned, but he's playing well. He just can't score, and right there he's trying to do too much. As we know, it goes off target. So tough for Sterling. But I thought generally he gave the Swedish defense something to think about. I mean, you got to deal with Kane physical, now you got to deal with Sterling's speed. So I thought he was getting into the game involved. I say good game by Sterling. Tough chance right there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's playing well. He's just not finishing, and so I'm sure he's taking a lot of flack for that. Anything else to add from the first half?
Not off the top of my mind, no.
All right, cool. Second half starts, and I actually missed how this happened, but Berg gets a header. I don't know if it was a free kick, corner kick, or if it was just from the run of play, and Pickford makes a fantastic save. It's going low, and Pickford goes and gets it, keeps it out. I mean, Pickford had another stellar game. He is just growing in this tournament, and at this point, I mean, I think he's got to be the favorite for Golden Glove. I mean, I know Subasic had a pretty good game today as well, but Pickford's just coming up big. Thoughts on Pickford's play?
Amazing job by Pickford. He's kept England in games all tournament. Another stellar job, and those are tough headers. I mean, you can't watch the foot fly and try and dictate where that ball is being placed. A header is so sporadic and where it can be placed. So I thought to get off his line like that, reach out, parry it away, even he parries it to the side, so there's no even second chance. Well done by Pickford. Dave, do you know what the deal is with Jack Butland? I thought he was pretty in there for England's keeper, but I don't know where's he been.
So, I mean, at this point, I think they're committed to Pickford. I don't think it's good practice to alternate goalkeepers, especially once you get into the knockout stage. Okay. So I think it's more just a situation where Pickford won the starting job. This is his 8th cap, so they don't want to necessarily get other guys in there. And I think they just valued Pickford's play with his feet as well as his shot-stopping ability. And so I think that's what it is.
He's got his team in the semis, so you can't argue with his performance. There's no way you're taking him out. But altogether, well done by Pickford.
Absolutely. 59th minute, England gets their second goal. Dele Alli gets a header. And this play, the ball got worked wide out to Trippier on the right side of the field. And I thought he had an opportunity to cross the ball, and England players were in good position. And he ended up not crossing it in and pulling it back to Lingard. And I thought that was a mistake. But it ended up working out really well because it kind of messed up the timing for the Swedish defenders. And you saw some of them step out and lose their marks. And the English players were able to get in behind as Lingard hits in a first-time cross on that ball laid back by Trippier. Dele Alli's on the back post, free header for him, makes it 2-0. What did you think of the goal?
Absolutely. I mean, this is just spectacular. I believe there's either 3 English or 2 English on the 2 Swedish defenders. And if you look, Alli is the deepest man. So Swedish defender loses sight of Alli, and Lingard's ball is just perfection. I mean, it is so hard to put that ball away from the keeper, but close enough to the goal where Alli can get a free header. And that's exactly what happened. Lingard, again, he's a come-up player for England, done spectacular so far. Alli, he was a little bit absent there in the first half. I was a little bit nervous about that. I saw Henderson and Lingard way more than Alli, but Alli just comes up in that spot, and then he cements it for England, puts Sweden in a real tough spot there. So well done for Alli, and great timing too on the pass. I mean, Alli is breaking for the goal when Lingard's toe hits that ball. So just well done on both of those players.
Absolutely, because I know Sterling was offside on the play, and Kane may have been, which were the other 2 English players, and Alli was well onside. So no controversy there. And I also noted the same thing. I actually noted Dele Alli did not have a good first half. I didn't think he was playing very well. He gets a goal, and goals are most important in soccer. So it is what it is. 62nd minute. This is probably Sweden's best chance of the game. They had a great combination play where they worked it through England's midfield, got down, and the ball got crossed into on the ground. It was more of like a pass combination play, but Clausen, who's kind of started the play, and it got to him at kind of the penalty area, and he gets a good hard low shot. But again, Pickford is there down to Pickford's right, makes a good strong save. The rebound comes out, and Henderson is there to block the follow-up. Again, Sweden's best chance there, and England defense holding strong. Any thoughts on that play?
Yeah, absolutely. England's defense has been so stellar, and I love the Just going to their outside backs again. I love their outside back talent that they give England, that where they almost have like, it becomes 5 midfielders and then it becomes like 5 defenders, 5 midfielders. So I love England's outside backs. Stones, well done. On that play again, it's just a combo with Pickford just rising up to the occasion, another clean sheet, and this is going down as England's for real now. I mean, I don't think there's anybody out there who's doubting them, because Pickford, nobody knows too much about them. Maguire, we don't know too much about him. But when the team meshes together like we saw today, England is a serious contender to win the World Cup. And I think that's a play, and all the plays are in this game. Solid performance is this is what it shows us.
Yep. And then the last real opportunity for Sweden came in the 72nd minute. Ball gets crossed into Berg. It's kind of bouncing. He does well to settle it, but then he hits it. Again, half volley. It's going at Pickford, maybe over the net, but Pickford does well to get a hand on it. And again, that was Sweden's really last chance of the game. You know, thoughts on that save?
And this is the play where it might go over and Pickford gets maybe a finger on it.
Yep.
Yeah, incredible reaction. I mean, I would have liked to see Berg maybe try for the sides a little bit, but I get he's going for solid contact first. You want to hit it hard first, aim to the side second. So he's getting contact. Again, the reflexes. I mean, he's becoming a cat in there. Just flicking his arms, and he's parrying it away so well. I mean, just getting it out of bounds. He's not putting the ball in the middle for a rebound, which a lot of goals can be scored like that when you have scrappy strikers like maybe Berg in there for Sweden, trying to get those those physical goals. So again, just applaud to Pickford for that spectacular save in his whole entire game.
Yeah, and if memory serves me correct, I think Berg may be going through a similar thing as Sterling. I think it's been a number of matches without him scoring, and so maybe he's in his own head there. Last things I have from this match, I just thought Sweden were the ones who looked tired. It looked like they had just gone through penalties and extra time, whereas really England again just controlled the match. They seemed to have energy. They didn't really seem to tire, and Sweden just kind of looked dead by the end of it. So that was the last thing I wanted to highlight. Anything else you wanted to highlight from this match?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going off that. I think when you have possession and you're making the defending team run, and they start ball chasing as the game gets on, because they need to get a stop when they're down. I think I have England here at 58% possession, 42. 265 passes for Sweden, 400 for England. So again, they're just wearing them out, and they have players who have played this game in a technically controlled way. And Sweden, maybe they look more like the physical, the try and maybe grind it out, maybe try and get some strikes in there, some hits outside the box. But England again controls this game, tires Sweden out, and they just played their game and they come out with a result.
But it seemed like Sweden was okay. Like, it seems like Sweden's played that way the entire World Cup and even through World Cup qualification. So again, it still seemed surprising to me that they couldn't, I guess, turn it on. But maybe it shouldn't have been surprising because, that was the way they just play,
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, you have Sweden's done very well, props to them, but you also have England who's played very well too. So the closer we get, we're clashing heads with teams that have found form. And I think England just had the upper hand lineup wise and play style wise today. But again, yeah, Sweden they were outplayed, but they weren't outplayed to the extent where they weren't in the game. There were definitely chances where this could have been a 2-1 game easily.
Absolutely. Well said. So with that, England on to the World Cup semifinals, first time since 1990. Congrats to them. And I know we have a lot of, guests we've had on who are English fans and all of that. So we are excited for them. Next match was Russia versus Croatia. It finished 2-2 with 1-1 in regulation. Then there were 2 extra time goals, one for each team, and then 4-3 on penalties to Croatia. Denver, what'd you make of the match?
All around just spectacular. I mean, this game is just sums up what this World Cup's been. The stadium was erupting. I mean, when Fox shows the fans' faces, it's incredible to see what soccer does to people. That was one of my favorite parts of this World Cup. Incredible game. I mean, like, edge of your seat, my heart's beating. That last minute, those extra time goals were just incredible, insane. Penalties again we get for the third time or for how many times and how many games. So just all in all, an amazing game to watch as a spectator.
Absolutely. Now, Russia came out in a 4-5-1, which was slightly surprising. They'd played Spain in kind of a 5-3-2, 5-3-1-1 formation. And so they came out in a 4-5-1, the same as Croatia. And so it was interesting to see them kind of try to match up formationally the same as Croatia. From a Croatian perspective, Modric was a little bit deeper in midfield, and Kramaric came in at kind of the attacking midfielder position. Again, just interesting different things that we saw in each of the lineups. Any thoughts on the lineups before we talk about the match?
Yeah, just Kramaric. I was a little, I'm a little, just a little sad that I haven't been able to see him as much in the World Cup. I know he was a big part in their qualifying runs. I think getting Kramaric in was a good move. A little bit risky though. I was a little bit surprised by seeing Kramaric. I figured they would just be rolling with what they have been. But again, I mean, Kramaric pays off, and Croatian coach knows his players the best. So props to him for the lineup change.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Russia came out and I thought started a lot stronger and more aggressive than expected. I think a lot of people just expected them to bunker right from the get-go the way they did kind of against Spain. And they definitely came out a bit stronger. It took Croatia, in my notes, 8 minutes before they had a decent spell of possession and started to exert their influence on the game. And then from then out, it kind of played out a bit more like we would expect. But again, Russia just came out very strong. What'd you make of Russia's start?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Russia, when they get out there, it's just that home field advantage, the whole field advantage. Sorry, I'm just pounding that home. It's just so easy to get amped up from Russia perspective, because I mean they will never find themselves most likely. Now that the World Cup has given me thought about underdog teams making runs, but most likely they will never find themselves in this situation, and they're coming out and they're leaving it all on the field. So to come out and start that way, I mean they're trying to make their statement. I think it's a mental game. They want to show Croatia that it's not going to be a sit back game. It's going to be a back and forth midfield who can control it, who can feed the wing, who can get it through the middle. So yeah, I thought well done by Russia coming out like that, and Croatia responded pretty well, as they usually do, by start of shifting the balance. They ended with, I believe, 65% possession. So that a lot, I believe, came more in the second half. Like you said, Russia in the first half was more on top of possession.
Absolutely. Now, before we talk about the goals, I thought Rebic, for this entire tournament, I got to be honest, I did not know much about him. I think this is kind of the first time I had heard his name, and I follow soccer pretty closely. So for me, he has been a revelation. I thought he has been, in many matches, Croatia's best player. He's out there for 120 minutes today, running his ass off. Again, just beating players. He's versatile. He's playing on the wing. He's playing at center forward. And again, he's strong. He's physical. He's got good touches. He can beat people off the dribble. And so for me, he's kind of been my surprise player of this tournament. Just thinking and noting here, what have you thought of Rebic's play?
I think spectacular. I totally agree with you on that, Dave. I believe there was a time where he beats 4 Russian defenders. It might have been 3.5. A guy kind of lingering, but again, I mean, he just brings so much offense, and you pair that with Perisic and Kramaric, if he's in form and he's in there doing his thing. So again, Rebic he's been so well. He's given them such a spark on the wing. He's given an outlet for Modric. He just continues to be a good player for this team. And again, coming from nowhere, I was right with you. I had to look twice of who Rebic was. And the whole entire Croatia team, you pretty much know where they come from, a little bit of their backstory. But again, Rebic is a guy who I didn't know, and he's made a statement in this World Cup, and that's going to go a long way for him.
Absolutely. So 31st minute, Russia gets their goal. They take a somewhat surprising lead. At this point, it was against the run of play. I feel confident in saying that. The play had bounced around. So both teams had gotten possession, cleared the ball, and it had bounced around. Eventually, it gets settled by Cheryshev on the left side of Russia's midfield. And he comes across centrally with the ball, and he plays it into Zuba, who's center forward for Russia. I thought he's had a very good tournament. And Zuba either takes a touch. Yeah, he takes a touch, settles it, and kind of does that play where he holds the ball up and he kind of takes a pause and he allows Cheryshev to continue his run. As Cheryshev continues his run, Zuba plays it back to Cheryshev. Cheryshev takes one touch with his right foot to cut it back to his left. He is left-footed, and then Cheryshev just hits an absolute rocket from about 22 yards, maybe 25 yards out, upper corner. Subasic, the Croatian goalkeeper, doesn't even bother diving. Denver, thoughts on the goal?
Oh, spectacular. I mean, there's so many ways you can look at this. Zuba's presence as that big man, he doesn't even need to touch the ball, but just being there is so much for Russia. Again, Cheryshev, one-touch player. That first touch is just world-class. I mean, that is such a good first touch to get it on your strong foot while the defenders are backtracking, trying to prepare for your next touch. He unloads from it. It had to be 25, maybe more. And when Subasic doesn't move, I'm in my seat thinking, is this going wide or is it going in? Because you usually don't see keepers not even step. I mean, just frozen. And lo and behold, it's just a beautiful ball. You see no rotation on the ball, meaning he struck it right through his boot, a little bit of curve at the end. And it's just a moment that Russia forever are going to look back and just rejoice, because it's just such a beautiful play.
doesn't get much better than that. And he finished the tournament with, I believe, 4 goals. He was incredibly involved. He's another guy. The only reason I know him is from his Real Madrid days with Rafa Benitez. He was involved in that wrongful substitution that got Real kicked out of the Copa. Not Copa Libertadores, that's the wrong name, Copa del Rey. And so that's the only reason I'd known of Cheryshev. And, he has had a fantastic tournament, and, props to him for getting a goal here. My next notes I have here, I had Mandzukic was not involved enough. And then shortly after I wrote that, 40th minute, Mandzukic is heavily involved in Croatia's goal. So it comes off of a goal kick. And Subasic had been trying to play short throughout the match, and Russia had been pressuring, trying to take away playing it short. So he's forced to play it long. He hits it long to Strenic, who's the left back, who wins it in the air. And Fernandez, the Russian right back, had come up to challenge Strenic there. I don't know if he really needs to do it at that point, because what happens is Russia's defense gets stretched. And so Strenic wins the ball. It bounces to Perisic, the left midfielder for Croatia. Because of that, the Russian center back needs to come out, and Perisic gets a touch on the ball, plays it in behind, and Mandzukic is just in acres of space. He collects the ball, drives to the end line. Not really a ton of pressure from Russian defenders. They're all kind of sitting back off, and Kramaric is really the only player in the penalty area for Croatia. Rebic makes a late run, but really it's Kramaric against 4 to 5 Russian defenders, and nobody really puts a body on Kramaric, and Mandzukic just finds him with a left-footed cross. Kramaric gets a quick header in the 6-yard box. It's tied 1-1. What'd you make of the goal?
Yeah, I thought broken down, Dave. Well done, really, really well done with how because it's all about the moving parts in the defense, and this is what leads to this goal. If Perisic can't get that touch to Mandzukic, this is totally different outcome. And again, Mandzukic, known as a striker, but again, he's got that flair of creativeness. He touches that ball left-footed, just out of reach for defenders. I don't know, just out of reach, but there wasn't many defenders close, but where in the path where defender couldn't hit it on their run. And again, Kramaric, well done for getting involved, especially in a star right in the middle there. And I think he puts a head on it. Really well done. Again, those header goals that I think Croatia has had more than a few of this tournament are so hard to defend, because you just don't know what the angle is going to be. Well done by Kramaric. Great build-up play. Good job by Subasic too, I believe, for finding that open guy at first, and then it's a well done play by Perisic to bring it up to pass to Mandzukic up the wing. So I thought all around, great offense, and Croatia responds again. I mean, how many times have we seen that? Last knockout game, again, Croatia responding. So it's been keeping in this tournament. So I thought, again, all around, well done by them.
Absolutely. And both goals kind of came from nothing. It wasn't like strong play where you could see something mounting, and both goals, kind of came from broken plays, and, it's 1-1 going into halftime. Anything else to add from the first half?
Not really, no.
All right, so second half starts. The first notes I have came from the 60th minute. This is where the scramble happens for I guess, Russia's perspective. So Strenic, the outside back for Croatia, hits an across. It's lofted in deep. And Akinfev, the Russian goalkeeper, kind of doesn't know how to judge it. So he comes way out of his net to get the ball, doesn't end up collecting it. And the Croatian players are able to get the ball back into the box. And there's kind of a mad scramble. It eventually ends with Perisic, who takes his time and hits the shot off of the inside of the post, rolls across the face of the goal. I know the U.S. commentators were saying goal, and it wasn't a goal, just barely bounces out. What did you think of this play?
Oh, just absolute insanity. I mean, I can't believe what the feel in that stadium is when that ball is rolling like across the line. Insane. Yeah, from my view, from watching on TV, I thought it was in, because I thought there's no way the angle that shot is. It hits the inside post and stays out. But that's what we love about soccer. It's just there's so many inch perfect shots or dribbles that can make or break a game, and this is just the instance for Perisic. Not his fault. I think it's a good shot. He may have been a little bit off balance, drove it into the ground a little bit too much, but well done for him for getting that on target. But again, this is just a game of inches, and that's why we love the World Cup, because it keeps maybe teams that don't have the skill level in games.
And a couple minutes later, Perisic is off and Brozovic comes on. And Brozovic is a defensive center midfielder. And so there was a couple interesting things that happened with that substitution. So Mandzukic was pushed out to left wing. Kramaric moved to center forward. And then Rakitic and Modric were freed up to go a bit more forward. And so it flipped the triangle in the midfield. So instead of Modric and Rakitic being more defensive midfielders, they were freed to go up and be a bit more attacking. And then Brozovic was sitting more as a defensive substitution. So even though it was just one sub, there were a lot of different things that happened with that. And that was interesting to see Croatia sort of do that. There wasn't anything that happened in regulation time as a result of this. But again, it was just an interesting sort of tactical wrinkle there. Anything to add on the substitution?
Yeah, I just think giving Modric a little bit more free range offensively was pretty smart by Croatia, because I don't think they had to worry too much about defending. I don't think they needed Modric's help as much, but I think putting him up atop a little bit, it gave a little bit more weaponry for the outside mids and the forwards to kind of expect balls. And I know Vrsaljko was involved a lot, and this allowed Vrsaljko to get up there. I think him and Modric worked that right side really well all game. So I think just having Modric up there, and Rakitic too, don't want to take anything away from him. He was a little bit shaky during some parts of the game, but again, solid player. Him paired with Modric is really lethal up there in the midfield. So I thought it was a well-timed sub.
85th minute, Russia earns a free kick, and I noted that Croatia had done this in a couple different other spots. They did it in extra time too, and I had brought this up on previous podcasts that I didn't understand why more defenses don't do this on set pieces. Everybody wants to play a high line and sprint at their own net as a ball is swung in. And for whatever reason, that is conventional common wisdom on how to defend set pieces. And I've never understood that. Anybody who's played baseball in America, it knows that it's easier. They always teach you it's easier to come forward than it is to go backward. And so I never understood why it made sense to sprint at your own net as the ball is coming in. And so what Croatia did on a lot of these set pieces, they had a very deep line. And so they weren't sprinting at their own net. They were just able to attack the ball. Now, Russia gets a goal in extra time, off of a set piece where there was a deep line. But again, this was just something interesting that I would like to see more teams do. Again, just because I think it allows you to be more effective at attacking the ball and getting it cleared out of your own net rather than sprinting at your own goal. So I don't know. It was just something interesting that I had seen. I've never really seen a team do that, at least not recently. Everybody wants to play a high line. So again, I thought that was an interesting tactical wrinkle from Croatia to do. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just about that. I've never really given that much thought, but it makes sense because as a coach, as a player, your coach usually tells you to face in. So what that means is that your body is looking towards the middle of the pitch rather than towards the outside of the pitch. So if you were to start a deep line and face in, your clearances would be going out away from your goal. Where when you're running back, I've seen own goals like this. In trying to defend, it's hard to get your head turned around enough to run back, but play a ball to the middle of the pitch. So I think I would like to see that more. I haven't really picked up on if that's been used by different clubs around the world or different teams in this tournament, but I would like to see that more.
Yeah, it's something I watch, and almost no teams do it. So it was good and interesting to see because on this podcast, anybody who's listened before knows I've brought that up before. So again, maybe Croatia's listening to this podcast. So, that's where they got it from. 89th minute, this was the weird play. Subasic picks up an injury and the ball is coming to him. I think it's a deflection and the ball is rolling out of bounds. He goes to save it and it's kind of a routine play, but he pulls up with like a hamstring injury, and then he continues on throughout extra time. What'd you see on this play?
I didn't really understand what the injury was for, but I understand that stamina has been a huge part for Croatia in this World Cup. Subasic in that injury and towards the end, they looked a little bit gassed. Besides Modric, he's a machine, so he was fine. But I mean, I think just Subasic, weird injury, and he hits the ground 2 times with his hand in frustration. So, and my first instinct is he has to be done, and he's frustrated because he knows this game may be going to PKs. He wants to be in there. But trainers are on there. I'm a little bit surprised the refs let the trainers work on him on the field. Usually the ref will give him about a minute and then say 30 seconds, we have to get going. He's got to be off or subbed. But I think good for him for being able to keep going, and it didn't impact his play like I thought that it might early or later on that game. So yeah, but weird kind of play that I didn't see what the exact cause was.
Yeah, I think because he's a goalkeeper, the ref's not going to have him stand off to the side of the pitch. But I was surprised too that he was able to continue, and then he was also able to Croatia made a sub pretty early on, or they were planning on making a sub pretty early on in extra time, and then Vrsaljko pulls up and they have to make an injury sub, but they weren't stressed about Subasic, which again just didn't look like that made sense because he looked to be in a lot of pain. But they clearly knew what was best. Anything else to add from regulation before we talk about extra time?
I think I'm all set.
All right. Extra time comes. Vrsaljko, as we just alluded to, he was forced off with injury. Kaluka comes on, and then Vida is moved out wide. He was the Croatian center back, and so there was a little bit of movement along the back line for Croatia. and Vida gets the goal. So the 101st minute, Croatia earns a corner kick. It's played in by Modric, and even before that, Modric, like you were alluding to, he was an absolute monster in there. Late in the match, still running his ass off. He was beating players on the dribble in the 101st minute, and that's how they earned this corner. Again, he weaves through a couple players, gets the corner, he plays it in, and Vida wins it. Corluka kind of gets in the way. I don't think he got a touch. Vida rips off his shirt, gets a yellow card, and Croatia takes the lead 2-1. No men on the post there for Russia, which is something I'm always hammering home on these podcasts. I don't understand why. I mean, that's just an easy clearance for somebody on the post, but no one was there. And Croatia takes the lead 2-1. Thoughts on the goal?
Yeah, just talking about the post. First of all, Vida, wonderful header. Athletic. I mean, when he took his shirt off, I was a little bit impressed. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, that's why. But yeah, on the post, I mean, I saw there was a Russian player like a little bit in front of the goal to the goalie's left, and again, he watches it a little bit, and the goalie watches him a little bit. And I think it's one of those things like everyone's watching like who's about to get this ball. And again, the goalie's not even diving. He's just sitting there watching the ball roll into the net, which didn't have the most, I mean, it was well placed, but it didn't have the most pace I've seen some headers go in. So that looked a bit shaky on the Russian side.
I think it was Smolov who was there, number 10. And you see this a lot of time on corners where you have a guy in the 6 and they're either instructed to run off the post as soon as the ball is hit in or just kind of occupy space. And I just think that I just think people are overcomplicating it. Just have a man on the post until the ball is cleared or until like defenders and goalkeeper gives you the signal to clear your lines. And I think too quick guys are so quick to run off the post or vacate their area. And so for me, I'm just up on my soapbox because this is something that annoys the hell out of me. Now, 2-1, Croatia looks to be in control, cruising, and Russia earns a free kick. It's 100% a free kick. This comes in the 115th minute. The Croatian defender was trying to say that he used his shoulder. I mean, it was clear as day handball, and earns a yellow card. I think it was Petrovic was the guy's name. Russia swings in a free kick. Again, Croatia with the deep line, and Fernandez just attacks it very well and hits it in. Zagov was the guy who played it in. And again, I still don't fault Croatia for playing a deeper line. I back my players if I'm a coach to attack the ball. I mean, you're going to lose headers, things are going to happen. And I don't think the deep line was the reason why this goal happened. So that's where I stand on it. What did you make of this goal?
I believe on the Fernandez goal, I believe Mandzukic is marking Fernandez and he's a little bit behind him. And I saw Mandzukic and he was just gassed. I mean, he was done. I think there was a play where he's like running on the right side of the field, then just like falls over just because it almost looks like he's done playing. Yeah. And it's one of those things where you mix a hungry Russia with the home crowd down 2-1 with a tired Mandzukic who probably can't even get his feet off the ground. Put those together, and what do you get? You get a Russian equalizer. So I think it's just all these things come together, and it's a Cinderella story that Russia's going to look back on. So I thought well done by Russia. Fernandez comes up so clutch. I thought he had a pretty good game. Besides that one we hit on earlier, I thought he did pretty solid handling wingers on that right side. So all around well done by Russia.
Well done by Russia. It finishes 2-2, and it goes to penalties where Croatia prevails 4-3. We were just talking about Fernandez. He misses his kick, but the penalties start with Smolov trying to chip the ball into the net. But what he does is if you're going to chip the ball, it makes the most sense to chip it down the middle of the net. It doesn't make sense to chip it to a side because we saw what happened with Subasic. He dove, but still had enough time to collect himself and then get his hand up. And it was just a terrible penalty from Smolov there. Russia misses their first kick, and then Akinfev comes back with a save a little bit later on Kovacic. Kovacic hit it pretty well. I know Stu Holden, the U.S. commentator, was saying it wasn't well hit. I mean, I disagree. I just think it was a fantastic save by Akinfev. Your thoughts when it was 1-1?
Yeah, I thought it was a fine save. I didn't have any problem with Kovacic's penalty. Going back to the Smolov penalty, the first one, I know we hit on this when it was Croatia-Denmark, that when you go middle, the point is to go a little bit slow, so the keeper is out of his reach. And this is flip. This is a player trying to chip the other way, with a Subasic already diving that way. He's almost able to like float in the air and just get his palm out. It's got so little pace that he just hits it with one palm and it bounces right off. I mean, if he's hitting that with pace, that's easily off his palm and in, or it's a lot tougher to get a hand on that ball. So I think first kick of the game for Russia, you got to set the tone. You got to smash that home.
Absolutely, yeah. He tried a Panenka, but it wasn't a very good Panenka, and it wasn't even down the middle of the net. So he missed that. Anyone who doesn't know what a Panenka is, check out the Soccer Tavern YouTube video. We have a video explaining what the Panenka is. Fernandez steps up. He misses the net completely on his penalty. Then Modric steps up and he hits it. Akinfev gets a hand to it, deflects it off the post, and then it bounces in. It's kind of the, I don't want to say karma, but it's kind of the opposite of what happened with Perisic, although Akinfev didn't get a save. It's just this one ended up going in. And then from then on, Croatia just, I think everybody converts their penalties. Rakitic hits it low and hard to the side, which is exactly how he won it for Croatia against Denmark. Anything else you want to add from the penalties?
Yeah, just on that Modric one, just so much thrill in that shot. I mean, that just gave the spectators and the crowd just that moment of tension where it's like it's in or out, and it's just takes that bounce. Modric converts. Everybody does really solid, I think. After that, even the Russian penalty taker, I think every shot was low, hard hit, and in the corner of the net. Each done solid job by them, and then Rakitic, the guy you want stepping up there for that fifth one, does what he does best, slots it home.
Yeah, and Vida had a really nice penalty too, the center back, so who was converted right back. But yeah, props to Croatia. They have won their second penalty shootout. They're taking on England in the semifinals. They have played a lot of soccer, and so it's going to be a lot of responsibility for those trainers and physical therapists and everybody on the Croatia team to get those players into peak shape for that game. Anything else to mention from these games?
All in all, just another great day of FIFA World Cup, and I'm so happy it's Saturday, so I catch all the games, and well done by all the clubs who played today.
Absolutely. Before we talk about Tuesday's France versus Belgium match, I want to give a quick plug for our partner, StadiumScene.tv. So StadiumScene.tv is a travel website you want to check out if you're going to a stadium in the U.S. Doesn't have to be soccer specific. They have football, basketball, hockey, all the different arenas and stadiums, and they have user recommendations on things to do in and around stadiums. So bars, restaurants, where to park, all of that stuff. In addition to that, they partner with content creators like us at Bros Talking Soccer. They have a bunch of other content creators across a variety of sports. So it's not just soccer, although they do have soccer. So we're on there as well as some other people. Go check them out for blog posts, podcasts, videos, all that stuff. Again, StadiumScene.tv. Denver, let's talk about Tuesday's match. World Cup semifinals, France versus Belgium. What are you expecting to happen?
So I'm just going to flip a coin, I think, pre-game, give France heads, Belgium tails. We'll see what happens. But no, this is just going to be another amazing game. France-Brazil was absolutely amazing. France comes out on top. I just think France is going to win. I'm not really sure why. I just think Mbappe, I think it's just been such a difference maker in this entire World Cup. I think it's going to go 2-1 France's way. But again, this ball could bounce anyway. This could be anything, but I'm sticking France 2-1.
All right. So I had this as my final before the World Cup started. I had Belgium coming second in their group, and then these two teams meeting in the final. So it's occurring a little bit earlier than I predicted. And I had Belgium winning the World Cup. I'm going to try to stick with that. But I'm similar to you. I mean, both of these teams are supremely talented. They have a great mixture of stars as well as young players who are up and coming and hungry. I'm going to give the slight edge to Belgium. I think they have just a bit more experience and maybe I can't even say a pinch more talent because both teams are so supremely talented, but I'm going to give the edge to Belgium. I think it's a 1-goal game, but I'm hopeful that it is. I mean, it's a World Cup semifinal, so it's probably ridiculous, but I'm going to say 3-2, and that is more based on the talent on the field. I have a feeling it might be tighter than that, but I'm going to say 3-2 Belgium, and I'm just so excited for that game. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, as far as that game, I think it's just going to be possibly the game of the World Cup. I think that this is the game that almost, I don't want to say decides the champion of the World Cup because we've seen so many crazy things happen, but this will be maybe the most star-studded, just electric game in the World Cup.
I would agree with that. So I'm super excited. Denver, anything else to add on anything we've talked about or for the World Cup?
I think I've hit on everything, Dave.
Awesome. Can you remind people about the MLS guys?
Yeah, so you can find us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at the MLS Guys. We try and stay up to date with stats, table standings, news, everything that encompasses news and around the MLS. We try and occasionally write as many articles we can about current events, current streaks, interesting facts, stats, clubs. So check us out.
Absolutely. So we, again, have that linked in the video description and podcast show notes, as well as their Twitter account. Please go give them a follow and check out their stuff. They're doing awesome things. Before we get out of here, I alluded to this earlier. I also have a YouTube channel called The Soccer Tavern, where I make videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. We have videos about soccer terminology. I was talking about Panenka. We also have pitch, nutmeg, and international cap. We have Premier League club history videos. And then for the World Cup perspective, we have the national team histories of all 32 teams at the World Cup. So explanations of their nickname, what is the country's population, how they've done in past World Cups, star players, so on and so forth. So please go check that out. Again, it's linked in the video description, but you can also search The Soccer Tavern on YouTube and find us. If you want to get in contact with us at Bros Talking Soccer, our Twitter's at BT Soccer Pod. Christian and I are the main ones tweeting from our Twitter account. Again, we're live tweeting everything, all the matches, and again, interact with us, giving predictions. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to email us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com, and our website is brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. We just added a store feature to the website. So if you want to support the podcast, no additional cost to you, but if you're buying anything on Amazon, if you visit our store section of the website and just click on the Amazon link, we get just a little percentage of whatever you buy. Again, no additional cost to you. And again, it just helps support the show. We also have some recommendations on like some of the books that I've read. Anyone watching on YouTube, some of the books you can see in the background here. There's some of my favorite soccer books, and we have them on there just as some recommendations. So please go check that out. Denver, thanks so much for joining me again, man. We have to get you back soon.
All right. Appreciate it, Dave. Thanks for having me.
All right, listeners and viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. And we will talk to you on Tuesday with the France versus Belgium match. Have a good one, everyone. See ya.